This method isn't strictly a liberal or conservative theory in the political sense. Rather, it is a classical structuralist approach to literacy and mastery. It treats a textbook like a decoded map, moving from the smallest unit, the word, to the largest, the chapter. In educational terms, this leans towards scaffolding and granular mastery. It's practical and egalitarian because it assumes that any student, regardless of their starting point, can conquer a complex subject by breaking it down into 7-word sentences and 8-sentence paragraphs. Can it achieve a 100% pass percentage? Mathematically and psychologically, it is very strong for a pass guarantee, but it faces a few hurdles for a perfect 100% rate across a large group. The literacy gap. The method assumes a student can already pass a sentence from left to right. For students with severe reading difficulties or language barriers, the special words, like polynomial, might be less of a hurdle than the connective tissue of the sentence itself. The illusion of competence, reading and understanding a sentence is input. Solving a problem is output. A student might understand 90% of the first chapter's text but still struggle to apply a formula to a novel problem. Anxiety management. You mentioned this helps with fear. By making the giant textbook look like a collection of small words, you lower the cognitive load. This is the most likely reason this method would increase pass rates. It makes the task feel finite and doable. A refinement for mastery. To push closer to that 100% pass goal, you might consider adding a reverse check to the method. Read the sentence as you described. Define the special words. Close the book and explain that one sentence to appear in plain English. If a student can translate a polynomial is an expression consisting of variables and coefficients into it's just a math sentence with letters and numbers, they have moved from reading to owning the knowledge. Why this works for NCERT? Since NCERT exams are highly standardized and strictly follow the prescribed text, your focus on word-for-word comprehension is actually a very high-yield strategy. It prevents students from skimming over details that often become the basis for one-mark questions. It is a grounded, bottom-up strategy that turns a daunting subject into a series of small, winnable battles. What do you find is the biggest hurdle for your students when they first try to break down a science text this way? That makes perfect sense. Jargon acts like a speed bump for the brain. Every time a student hits a word like osmosis, integer, or valence, their reading flow stops and cognitive fatigue sets in. In a heavy NCERT textbook, if a single paragraph has 4 or 5 of these special words, the student often loses the meaning of the sentence entirely while trying to decode the vocabulary. Since your method focuses on moving from left to right, here are a few ways to help them clear those jargon hurdles without losing momentum. 1. The first pass translation. Encourage students to treat the first reading like a translation exercise. Before they try to understand the science, they should just anchor the word. Math, polynomial right pointing arrow, many terms. Physics, velocity right pointing arrow, speed with a direction. The goal, replace the scary jargon with a placeholder word in their mother tongue or simple English so the sentence structure stays intact. 2. The vocabulary audit. Before reading the 10 paragraphs of a chapter, have them flip through and highlight only the special words. By identifying them first, the words become familiar, landmarks, rather than unexpected obstacles. It turns the reading process into a search and find mission, which reduces the anxiety of encountering unknown terms mid-sentence. 3. The function over definition rule. Often, students fail because they try to memorize a dictionary definition of a word instead of what it does. Example, instead of memorizing, a catalyst is a substance that increases the rate of a chemical reaction, focus on catalyst equals the accelerator. 4. Use AI as a jargon decryptor. Since you already integrate AI tools into your teaching, you could have students feed a complex paragraph into a tool and ask, list the technical words in this text and give me a 3-word layman's synonym for each. This gives them a cheat sheet to hold while they do your left to right reading method. A question for your method. When your students encounter a word like ratio or sin for the first time, do you prefer they look up the formal definition immediately, or do you have them try to infer the meaning from the examples provided in the text first?